We are starting today with an incredible story of heroism. A retired Army vet, Major Richard Fierro, who served for 15 years, was the one who stopped the gunman in Saturday's attack at a gay nightclub in Colorado Springs. He was there with his family and friends to see a drag show when the gunman opened fire. Here's what he said happened next. But first, a quick warning to our viewers. This story may be disturbing to some. Take a look.
So I ran across the room, grabbed the handle, pulled him down. I found a crease in between his armor and his head, and I just started wailing away with his gun. I tried to have everybody in there. I still feel bad that there's 5 people there's 5 people that didn't come home. And this guy, I told him while I was hitting him, I said, I'll kill you, man, because you tried to kill my friends. My family was in there.
Wow. One of the 5 victims in the attack was his daughter's boyfriend, Raymond Green Vance. 2 more of Fierro's friends are still in the hospital after being shot. Our thoughts and prayers go to all of the victims and to his 2 friends still in the hospital. We hope they can make a full recovery. What do you think of this story?
Well,
Fierro especially.
It's amazing that it's so normalized to us that people say that they use their combat skills with their family in a nightclub, and we're like, oh, good news. Thank the Lord you were there. I mean, I don't know, Erica. It just seems like we've lost our way. I don't think there's a way to, let's stop with the get rid of the guns. If anybody, stop with that. It's not happening. It's like trying to get rid of all the socks in the country. There's too many, it's impossible. It just seems like the barrier for entry to getting a gun is so low that anybody just on a whim can just have one sent to them. Look, go on YouTube, find out how to use it, and then just decide where you want to go to just use combat equipment against civilians. And so I don't know where to go from this, Erica. What comment can I make? So I'm asking you.
I don't have the answer. I think when we're looking at everything that contributes to this particular situation, because keep in mind there were 599 other mass shootings that have happened in this country this year. And
like 3 last week.
There's over 600. That wasn't. There's over.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So well,
right.
You know
exactly.
But I don't. And the thing about it is, you want to give everyone the attention and the time that they deserve, because no one should be in this situation. And I will say that our issues are so compounded, it's hard to even put one finger on it. I am not going to ignore the fact that this was an LGBTQIA plus nightclub, that this was targeted, that the language that even with people who are attempting or even talking about sending thoughts and prayers is still bigoted. When we don't have and when you say something about homophobia and people are like, oh, it's not always because of that, or it's not always because of this, it's like, well, yeah, it's enough that we need to have that conversation. It's enough that it deserves the conversation to say, be mindful of your words. And when someone says something that is bigoted, then inform them of what the truth is. Inform them that that's not okay for you. It's just, I don't even know. It's like, do you have the gun conversation? Do you have the homophobia conversation? Do you have the world needs a healing conversation? What conversation do we have?
Well, to your point, and we're going to bring in our guests, but to your point, here in Colorado, hate crimes since 2018 to 2021 have risen 380%. So, for more on this, I want to introduce you all to a man who survived the Pulse Nightclub shooting in Orlando, Florida in 2016. He's also the press secretary for Equality Florida. Please welcome Brandon Wolf. Thank you so much for being here, Brandon, under the worst circumstances possible.
Brandon, yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Brandon, when you woke up, just take us back and sort of paint the picture. You heard the news about the shooting at Club Q on Sunday. What went through your mind? Are you immediately traumatized, and are you going back to Pulse in that month, or have you moved on in a way? Talk to us about that.
Yeah, I mean, transported immediately back to June 12th of 2016, when it was my community that was under assault. I learned about the shooting at Club Q probably in the same way that people learned about our tragedy, through panicked phone calls and text messages, people reaching out to make sure that my friends were not on the ground in Colorado. My heart was immediately broken. I listened to Fierro talk, and it breaks again, because people. These are lives that have been shattered. There are people who are going to have Thanksgiving dinner tables that have missing faces at them. These are people who are going to have holidays that have missing Christmas presents under the tree and missing stockings on the fireplace. There are people who, like me, had to call their friends' parents and tell them that their children were not coming home. And then my heartbreak morphed into anger, into rage, because what more do you need? What more do you need to understand that words have consequences? We have been telling people in this country that the unmitigated, unbridled hate spewing from right-wing extremists, including politicians like my own governor, Ron DeSantis, that would have deadly consequences. We tried to tell you that people's lives were on the line, and they just didn't care. And now there are 5 people who went to a space that was supposed to be safe for them and came home in body bags. There are dozens of people who will carry those scars for the rest of their lives. An entire community has been torn to shreds. They had to pay the price for that unmitigated, unbridled hatred. So forgive me if I'm a little angry today, but that's, I think, where the community is at.
Yeah, and I would say, Lauren Boebert, let's just call it out really quick in Colorado. Miss me with your thoughts and prayers. Miss me with that.
Miss me with. Thank you. I told her to say that. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it from these bigots who have been happy and gleeful to traffic in the anti-LGBTQ tropes. We don't want to hear it right now.
Amen.
Well, let's talk about someone who is being hailed a hero, because as we mentioned earlier, we heard from Major Richard Fierro about what he went through at Club Q. And if it's all right with you, I'd like to ask about your own experience as a survivor of the shooting at Pulse Nightclub. What was that night like for you?
Well, again, my heart goes out to him. He is a hero. He saved lives. He needs to be honored. I hope he never pays for a drink again in his entire life. You know, what's so odd is that places like Pulse, places like Club Q are safe spaces. And that means when you go in them as an LGBTQ person, it's one of the first places you can exhale. It's one of the first places you can hold hands with someone without looking over your shoulder first. And Pulse was that for me. But in an instant, that safe space became the horrific tragedy people know it to be. I had stepped into the bathroom to wash my hands. I can remember this poster on the wall above a urinal, the painted faces of drag queens I was familiar with. I can remember this cup sitting on the edge of the sink looking like it might fall off. I remember for some reason how cold the water was in the faucet. I remember the smell of blood and gun smoke that started to fill the bathroom. The woman behind me trying so hard not to scream that I could feel her shaking against the tiles on the floor. I remember sprinting for an exit, daring myself not to look left into the dance floor because I knew whatever I saw in there I would never be able to forget. And I remember how I felt when I learned, though I had escaped with my life, that my best friends, my chosen family, Drew and Juan, had taken 19 of the over 110 rounds that man pumped into the club from an assault rifle. That is something you never get over. It's something you carry for the rest of your life. And again, my heart breaks because the people of Colorado Springs are going to be with this for a really long time.
Oh my goodness, Brandon, you have us all in tears. I'm so sorry that you had to go through that, but thank you so much for being here and sharing your story and passion with us all. For more information on the organization Brandon works for, called Equality Florida, go to their website at eqfl.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Brandon.
Brandon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, as we go to break, we want to honor the 5 victims of Saturday's attack in Colorado Springs. Our thoughts and prayers are with their families. May they rest in peace.